Now we need to secure your backer board and prep your book for cutting. To do this, you're going to need a brad nailer. You're going to need some brad nails. Of course, you need your book and your backer boards. Choosing the length of your nail. For this particular book, I'm using a 1-inch brad nail. It does not quite go through the book. The next size up would get me way too close to the edge, but you want to have it go fairly deep into the book, at least that when you drive your nails from both sides, that they will overlap. I set my brad nailer at 60 psi, which works really well for driving these nails into wood. First step, you're going to find the back of your book, which will be this side. Open it up, and you can see that we have our guidelines on here. This particular guideline is where you want to drive brad nails directly into the book that will be permanently in the book to reinforce these edges after you cut out the middle. This step is entirely optional. It's just something that I found works really well to reinforce the book so that it doesn't sag, since we're taking so much material out of the book during the cutting process. So you want to get it lined up and squared as best you can, and using this particular line as the guideline, just drive in a few nails. I usually get 4 on the longer side and 3 along the short side, and you just tack them in. And of course I'm doing them right along that line. And you will get a little bit of pucker along the edges here. That's not too detrimental to this project, because we will take care of that during the pressing process. Okay, so as you can see, I've got brad nails around the perimeter. Some of them actually go through this first page and all the way through, which is not that big of a deal. So now the book itself is fairly sturdy, and you can see how far the nails went through. But while we have it open on this side, we'll go ahead and put on the backer board. This is the back of the book, so we got the template without the rounded edges. You want to line this up. It doesn't have to be perfect for the back side, because this is just the backer board on that you won't actually see during cutting. We drew this guideline on here, though, so that we can drive our nails into the waste material of the book. The area of the book that we will be removing, you want to drive these nails into to hold this thing into place. Just don't get too close to the edge here, because this is where the saw blade will be coming through during the cutting process. So I just kind of go I don't know, ½ inch in or so, start at the corners. Just secure the corners. Push the book down really well while you're doing this to squish the pages together. And then I'm just driving some random feels, and then a few more for good measure. So now the backer board on the back is attached to the book. Okay? Next we'll do the front side. Okay, attaching the front backer board is pretty much the same process. I went ahead and I reattached the rubber band holding the first few pages to reveal the page that I have my tick marks on. So we're going to go ahead and brad nail this one in with the exact same process that we did with the back side. However, for moving the nails along my lines here, I'm going to move over probably about 1/4 inch from where they came through on the back side, because we don't want the nails to actually hit each other as the top nails going in. So on this side, I had 4 coming from the back. I will do 3 going down the front, and over here I will do 2, and do that all the way around. And then I will attach the front backer board in the exact same manner that I did on the back side, but this one I want to make sure that I have it exactly where I want it, because this will be my cut line. So I'll attach this one, driving nails into the center only. Alright, I have the backer boards in place and ready to go. You can see here from the front I've got my few pages that I had clipped with the rubber band to keep them out of the way. But I've got the front backer board on and the back one permanently attached, sandwiching this material together, and I will be cutting along this. This will be the inside cavity that I am removing. So first, before we can do that, we need to just bring in just a little backer board so that you're not drilling into your table. Bring in your drill. Now remember, the size of the drill bit is not critical. You just want to make sure that this drill bit is big enough that you can thread your scroll saw blade through it. Now I'm going to drill a hole on the inside of the cut line. I'm going to go about here, just maybe 1/4 of an inch inside the cut line, because this is where you're going to start the blade, and then we're going to start the cut. We're going to come down this direction to the cut line and continue all the way around. Important when you're doing this, put a lot of downward pressure on it so that the pages don't bundle up and push your backer board off. Let's see, did I go all the way through? Almost. Just a little bit more. Okay, so now I've got my hole all the way through, and this is where I'm going to thread my scroll saw blade through. So off to the scroll saw. Okay, setting up your scroll saw. First off, you want to choose a blade that has a fairly aggressive cutting pattern to it. I don't know if you can see this one here, but it's got just a few teeth per inch, as opposed to like a regular wood saw that's going to have many teeth, or even a metal saw. So this is the blade that I'm going to use for this. But before I do this, you need to take your book, still have the rubber band on there, fold back the front, fold back the back so that you get your covers out of the way. Then I just line this thing up on the scroll saw, take the blade, thread it through, obviously with the teeth down, into the saw, and get the saw set up. If you have any questions about how to work a scroll saw, make sure you're aware and follow the directions on how to use your scroll saw. Now let's get to cutting. Okay, I have the blade installed through the hole, tension set, and I'm ready to begin. So pretty much just like any other scroll work, I'm just going to start the saw and just push the book into the blade, cutting along this cut line and allowing the blade to do the work. I'm not going to force it. I'm just going to guide it, and especially when I get to the corners, just let the blade do its job. As it works around, I'm going to follow this line all the way around the perimeter of the book until I get to the end, and then do my best to try and get a smooth transition between the beginning cut and the end cut. So here we go. Okay, now we can start the assembly process. As you can see, I finished with the scroll saw, cutting out the center all the way back to the beginning hole. So now we're just going to remove the backer boards and then punch out the center. And you're left with this nice little sandwich here that you can do with whatever you want. Throw it in the recycle bin, the recyclers will take it. I actually take these things camping and make great firewood. Next step, of course, blow off all the dust. We can kind of see the beginnings of our book safe. We've got the cutout. The sides are all reinforced because we've got it all pinned together. And now we're just to the point of getting some gluing done. To do so, before you do anything, don't toss these just yet. We will need those in the next step. But now, go ahead and get out your wax paper. I went ahead and I cut off a sheet, cut it in half. We're going to need one for the back of the book and one for the front of the book. Go ahead and open up the book, stick a sheet in there, place it down, and then we're going to take our glue, and it doesn't take a lot. Just get a little bit of Mod Podge on there, and you're going to go around on the inside, get a nice coating of glue. Doesn't need to be super thick. I find it works best to start at the bottom and work your way up, and then just kind of press around the edge to get that little bead. But you want to make sure that top page has got glue to hold it down. And go around the perimeter, get a good coating. We have this sheet on the bottom in place so that we don't end up with a big glue mess on the bottom that we're going to need to cover up later.